You came home today, hugged your dog, maybe gave him a treat, and you genuinely believe you're a great dog owner. But what if the one thing your dog fears most is something you did just this morning? Not out of cruelty, not out of neglect, just out of love. The wrong kind of love. Stay with me, because by the time we get to number 4, most dog owners go completely silent. Welcome to Hope for Rescue. If you care about your dog's emotional world, pay close attention, because we are diving deep into the hidden psychology of the creature sleeping at your feet. Dogs aren't just animals that eat, sleep, and fetch. Science has finally confirmed what many of us long suspected. Dogs possess an emotional intelligence roughly equivalent to a 2-year-old human child. They feel joy, frustration, insecurity, and yes, genuine heartbreak. But the problem is that most of the things hurting them aren't the obvious ones. They're the small, daily, well-intentioned habits that slowly chip away at your dog's trust, confidence, and happiness. Let's get into it. Number 1, and this one hits hard. You take their food away to test them. Think about what happens in your dog's brain the moment you reach toward their bowl mid-meal. To you, it's a training exercise. To them, it's a primal alarm. Dogs are the direct descendants of opportunistic hunters who had to compete for every single calorie. Their nervous system is literally hardwired to treat food as a survival resource, not just a pleasure. When you repeatedly remove their food, even playfully, you aren't teaching obedience. You're triggering an ancient fear response that screams, "This resource is not safe. I must protect it." This is the tragic origin story of food aggression. It doesn't start with a bite. It starts with tension, a dog that stiffens when you walk near, or a dog that begins to eat faster and faster, choking down their kibble to finish before you steal it again. Behaviorists consistently report that food guarding is one of the most common problems they see, and ironically, it's almost always created by the owners who are trying to prevent it. What actually works? Building a positive surplus. Drop a piece of high-value steak into the bowl while they're eating. Teach the leave it command through reward-based success, not through resource-based anxiety. Your dog should feel that your hands near their food mean a bonus is coming, not a subtraction. Keep watching. Well, because the next one on this list is something almost every dog owner does within the first 5 minutes of getting home, and it's fueling a hidden epidemic of canine anxiety. Number 2. You greet your dog with too much excited energy. We've all seen the scene. You walk through the door after a long day, your dog starts spinning, and you respond by squealing, jumping, and letting them leap all over you. It feels like pure, unadulterated joy. But look closer at what happens in the 30 minutes after that greeting. Many dogs can't come back down. They pace, they whine, they nudge you obsessively, unable to settle. That's not happiness. That's a nervous system that was spiked into a high arousal state and doesn't know how to return to its baseline. Dogs don't actually need us to mirror their chaos. They need us to be the calm, to stable gravity they can orbit around. When we amplify their arousal at the door, we are essentially confirming their suspicion that your departure and return are high-stakes, high-stress emotional events. Over time, this creates a Velcro dog that struggles with separation distress because the contrast between your absence and your explosive return is too jarring for their brain to process. Try this instead. Come home, stay calm, and let your dog settle for at least 90 seconds before you acknowledge them. Then greet them warmly but gently. You'll notice within weeks that your dog becomes more stable overall. And in the world of canine psychology, a stable dog is a truly happy dog. Number 3. You use the crate as a place for punishment. The crate is one of the most powerful tools in dog ownership when used correctly. Evolutionarily, dogs are den animals. Their ancestors sought out small enclosed spaces for security and recovery. A properly introduced crate should feel like a dog's private sanctuary, their bedroom where the world stops and rest is guaranteed. But the moment you point to that crate with frustration in your voice because they chewed a shoe or had an accident, you change its molecular structure in their mind. You've taken a neutral safe haven and turned it into a cell of rejection. Dogs form associative memories with incredible speed. Once the crate is linked to your disapproval, it loses its function as a stress reliever. Worse, it becomes a source of confinement anxiety. Dogs that were once calm in their crates start to whine, scratch, and panic the moment the door clicks shut because they feel they are being shunned by the pack leader. Never, or under any circumstances, send your dog to the crate as a consequence. If they need a time out, redirect them calmly without the emotional weight of punishment. Build the crate back into their life through passive positivity. Toss random treats in there when they aren't looking, feed them near the entrance, and let them choose to go in. When a dog chooses the crate, they are choosing peace. Now, we're at number 4, the point where most owners realize they might have unintentionally broken their dog's heart. Number 4. You laugh at your dog when they are scared. A thunderstorm rolls in, the fireworks start, or a vacuum cleaner turns on. Your dog is trembling behind the toilet, pressed flat against the floor, or panting with wide, whale eyes. And what do? We smile. We chuckle at how dramatic they're being. We pull out our phones to film the funny reaction for social media. You're not a bad person for doing this, but you are missing a critical biological event. In that moment, your dog is experiencing a massive surge of cortisol and a racing heart, the full physiological reality of terror, and the one creature they trust to protect them is finding it funny. Dogs are exquisitely sensitive to our micro-expressions. When your response to their genuine distress is amusement, they don't understand the joke. They only understand that they are alone in their fear. This matters because the foundation of a dog's confidence is secure attachment. Dogs who know their owner is a reliable safety net recover from trauma much faster. And dogs who learn their owner is dismissive develop floating anxiety, a general state of unease because the world feels fundamentally unprotected. When your dog is scared, don't overcoddle them with high-pitched voices, which can confirm their fear, but don't laugh. Be a calm anchor. Speak in a low, steady voice. Be present. Let them hide if they need to, but stay nearby. That consistency builds a dog that can face the world because they know you have their back. Number 5 involves a gesture we all think is a sign of love, but it actually feels like a threat. Number 5, you pet them on top of the head. This is the most human thing we do, and yet it's one of the most anti-dog gestures in our repertoire. To us, a pat on the head is a good boy. To a dog, a hand descending from above and pressing down on their skull activates an ancient postural response related to dominance. Dogs cannot see what is happening directly above their heads. Even the most loving, docile dog will often experience a split-second involuntary tension when you reach over them. Watch your dog's body language next time you do it. Do they lean into it with soft eyes? Or do they blink rapidly, lower their head, or shift their weight away? That's learned tolerance, not enjoyment. There is a massive difference. Dogs consistently prefer being touched on the chest, the chin, or the base of the tail. Long, slow strokes along the side of the body release oxytocin in both the dog and the human. If you want to show your dog true affection, to change the where and the how, stop patting and start stroking. You'll find they stay in the interaction longer because it's actually pleasurable, not just something they endure for your sake. Number 6 is the silent killer of training: inconsistency with your rules. On Monday, you're tired and let the dog snuggle on the sofa. On Tuesday, you're wearing nice clothes and shout at them for jumping up. On Wednesday, you let them beg for pizza crusts. On Thursday, you get angry because they barked at the dinner table. From your perspective, you're just being flexible. From inside your dog's brain, this is pure chaos. Dogs don't have a moral compass. They have a pattern-matching brain. They don't think, I shouldn't be here because it's rude. They think, but this action leads to this outcome. When the outcome changes randomly based on your mood or the day of the week, the dog loses their mental map of the world. An animal that cannot predict its environment is an animal in a constant state of low-level stress. What often looks like stubbornness or disobedience is actually just a dog that is confused and anxious. They are guessing what you want, and when they guess wrong and get scolded, they stop trying. This doesn't require you to be a drill sergeant. It just requires a family contract. Everyone in the house must agree. Is the sofa allowed? Is jumping okay? Pick a lane and stay in it. Your dog will reward you with a calm, responsive personality because they finally understand the laws of physics in their home. Number 7. You ignore them when they are trying to communicate. Or your dog paws at your leg while you're scrolling on your phone. They nudge your hand while you're watching TV. They sit and stare at you with an intensity that feels like they're trying to beam a message into your brain. And most of the time, we brush them off. Not now, we say. But here is the reality. Dogs have a very limited vocabulary, and they use every bit of it to talk to us. A nudge isn't just an annoyance. It's a request for connection, a warning of a strange noise, or a plea for a bathroom break. When we consistently ignore these signals, dogs don't just get the hint. They conclude that the communication channel is broken. This leads to one of two outcomes. They either escalate into destructive, attention-seeking behaviors like barking and chewing, or they shut down. Shut down is the most heartbreaking state. It's called learned helplessness. The dog looks well-behaved because they've stopped asking for anything, but in reality, they've simply given up on the relationship. You don't have to play fetch for an hour every time they nudge you, but you must acknowledge them. A simple, I see you, a quick scratch behind the ears, or 5 seconds of eye contact tells them your voice matters. That acknowledgement is the glue of your bond. Number 8 is a habit born of frustration. but it's actually a barrier to learning. You shout when they misbehave. They tore up the trash or had an accident, and you react with volume. It's a human instinct, but it's a total failure in canine communication. When you shout, one of two things happens. Bold dogs see it as barking along, which actually reinforces the excitement and the behavior. Or sensitive dogs see it as a threat display without any instructional context. A dog doesn't connect your screaming right now to the trash they ripped up 20 minutes ago. They only connect the screaming to you. Now, your face and your voice carry threat. Research into canine neurology shows that a dog in a state of fear is physically incapable of processing new information. Their prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of the brain, shuts down, and the amygdala, the fear center, takes over. So by shouting, you are actually making it impossible for your dog to learn the lesson you're trying to teach. Effective communication is calm, clear, and immediate. Use a firm, low-frequency no to mark the moment, immediately redirect them to a better behavior. And then, this is the key, reward them the second they do the right thing. That sequence, mark, redirect, reward, works because it aligns with how a dog's brain actually builds new pathways. Number 9, you physically push them away. When your dog is all over you, climbing into your lap or trying to lick your face, and you're not in the mood, the natural reaction is to use your hands to push them off. But in the world of canine social structure, physical contact is the currency of belonging. Pressing against another member of the pack is how they say, "We are one." When you use your hands to push them away, you are using the language of social exclusion. To a dog, being physically shoved isn't a boundary, it's a rejection from the pack. Over time, this creates insecure attachment. They either become obsessively needy because they're desperate to regain that contact, or they become emotionally distant. Neither is what you want. Instead of pushing, use spatial pressure or cues. Stand up and walk away. Taking your attention with you is a much clearer, less aggressive signal than a physical shove. Or teach them a place command where they go to their bed to earn a reward. Use your brain to manage their body, not your hands. Finally, number 10, the foundation of everything we've discussed. You ignore their need for social connection and mental enrichment. Dogs are not solitary creatures. They have evolved for thousands of years to live in highly integrated social groups. Isolation is not a neutral state for a dog. It is a form of biological suffering. And a dog left alone for 10 hours a day in a silent house with no jobs to do and no puzzles to solve isn't just bored. Their brain is actually atrophying. The behavior problems that drive people to give up their dogs, the digging, the howling, the chewing of baseboards, are almost never malice. They are symptoms of unmet needs. They are what a desperate brain does when it has no other outlet. The solution isn't just more exercise, it's enrichment. A 15-minute sniffari, where the dog leads the walk and smells everything, is more exhausting for a dog's brain than a 2-mile run on a leash. Food puzzles, nose work games, and simple, undistracted presence are the keys. Your dog has one life, and the absolute center of that life, the sun around which their entire world orbits, is you. Not your house, not their toys, and not their treats. You. Everything they feel about the world is filtered through your relationship. When you show up for that relationship with consistency, calm, and a genuine attempt to see the world through their eyes, you aren't just owning a pet. You are honoring a soul. Every single thing on this list is fixable, and it starts the very next time you look at them. If this shifted the way you look at your dog, share this with someone who loves theirs. Subscribe to Canine Mind for more insights into the science of the canine soul, and leave a comment below. Which of these was the hardest to hear? We read every single one, because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to be the people our dogs already think we are.